Hi everybody, this is Avrohom Czapnik from the Jewish Learning Exchange in Los Angeles. I hope you and yours are well. We continue to pray for all the hostages. May they come home soon, happily and healthily, and for all their families and the families of the Jewish people and the soldiers. God should protect the Jewish people wherever they may be. This week's Torah portion is Parshat Pekudei, which is the last portion of Chumash Shemais, the book of Exodus. It's also Parshat Pekudei. We read a special added reading, one of the 4 special readings at this time of the year. So in Parshat Pekudei, we talk about an accounting that the Jewish people had to give, and Moshe had to give, about all the money that came in for donations for the Mishkan. And this is an important idea for us, to keep a calculation of what we spent, to make sure it's not wasted and was used for the proper purpose. Rav Moshe Feinstein, the great holy rabbi of the greatest Jewish law authority of the 20th century, he writes an interesting thing, that we always will have to give an accounting for everything we have, not only our money, but how we spent our time and how we spent our resources. In the Shema, in the affirmation of our belief, we talk about serving God with all of our heart, with all of your soul, with all of your resources. Each of us have resources, talents, abilities. Do we use them well? It's very easy to waste time today with following the news too much, or video games, or thinking that we're doing something righteous, like free Palestine, as if that's going to solve all the problems. From the river to the sea is really an idea of exterminating all the Jews. So people have a warped idea of what righteousness is and what the good things to do are. So we need to know what the Torah tells us to do, and we have to give an accounting for how we spend our money, our time, our resources, and we do waste a lot of that on things that the difference between wants and needs when it comes to finances. There's so many needs out there that are real, and sometimes our wants supersede the needs of others, and that isn't good either. There's a very powerful story about a great rabbi. He was known as the Maharsha. He wrote a very famous commentary on the entirety of the Talmud. His real name was Reb Shmuel Eidlitz. He lived in the city of Ostro, Poland, and he was a great Torah scholar, and people flocked from all over to go to learn Torah from him because he had so much to teach. And they decided they needed a new building. And the honor of placing the cornerstone in this new building was going to be given to the highest bidder, who was going to donate charity to this very worthy Jewish cause of building this yeshiva so that he could teach his students properly. And there was a lot of voting and bidding, and the amount kept going up and up and up and up. But there was a quiet Jew who had gone over to the person in charge of the bidding and said, whatever the bid is, I'm beating it because I want to have the honor. But my name should not be mentioned. It has to be anonymous. And finally, the bidding was reached the high point of 500 rubles that this man was going to give. And when he was asked privately, who do you want the honor to do? Do you want to put the cornerstone yourself? He said, no, I want to give it to the Maharsha himself, the great rabbi. And that's what happened. People wondering, who was this person? No one knew who it was because it was anonymous. And the Maharsha, when he heard this, was also very pleased. And he asked, please ask this man if he's willing to come talk to me, because I'd love to meet him for his dedication to Torah and his very heartfelt donation. And the man in charge approached the man and asked, would you be willing to meet the Maharsha? Oh, for sure. And he came running to the Maharsha, and the Maharsha said, what's going on? And the man said, truthfully, it's money I can't really afford. But my wife and I have been married for many years, and we don't have any children. And we want to have a legacy for us after we pass away. And we decided that building the yeshiva for the great rabbi, the Maharsha, would be a wonderful legacy. And the Maharsha was very touched, and he blessed them, and he said, may you be blessed with a wonderful child, and that may your child join this yeshiva when he grows up. And sure enough, a year later, the baby was born, a little baby boy, and he grew up to be a very fine young man. And when he was 13, they brought him to the yeshiva to start studying. And he was a little young, and the yeshiva didn't want to take him, but they went to the marsha and they said, "This is the baby you blessed us with, and we'd like him to be in the yeshiva." And the marsha said, "Of course, let me set up the right things to make it work for him so that he can be successful." So we have to look at our resources, not only financial, but time, our talents, and make sure that we're using them for the right thing, making God's name great in the world, bringing glory to his name, expanding acts of loving kindness for others, expanding knowledge of Torah and mitzvos, and using these well, because we have to give an accounting for all of that, just like Parshat Pekudei has the accounting for what they did. Even for this holy house of the Mishkan had to have an accounting. So may we make a good accounting of what the gifts that God has given us, and use them well so that God's name can be perpetuated in the world, and we can add a little light to the darkness of the world. Have a great Shabbos. All the best.